We're going to have two speakers at this next program. Ted Beals is now retired after 31 years on the faculty of the University of Michigan Medical School. He has written on bovine TB and has been presenting scientific testimony on fresh, unprocessed milk in North America for the last several years, promoting the rights of farmers to provide and consume, and consumers to obtain farm-fresh milk and other local farm products. A lifelong advocate for organic principles and traditional nutrient-dense food, Ted works with his wife, Peggy Beals, as a Weston A. Price Chapter Leader. They are directors of the Farm to Consumer Foundation, members of the Michigan Fresh Milk Council, which is a partnership of Michigan cowshare dairy farmers and consumers, and serves on the Michigan Fresh Unprocessed Whole Milk Workgroup. They're working to enable consumers to access fresh, unprocessed milk in Michigan. They conducted an extensive written questionnaire of cowshare consumers in Michigan and neighboring states. They live on 40 acres in rural Michigan. Peggy Beals is the author of Safe Handling Consumer's Guide. And our other speaker is Mark McAfee, and he's president of the Organic Pastures Dairy Company, established in 1999 to supply organic raw milk to consumers in California. He developed and implemented the first mobile Grade A milking barn, allowing cows to be milked in the pasture. Mark has worked closely with government officials and university researchers to demonstrate the superior safety of raw milk. Also, he and Ron Hall and Ted Beals developed the food safety program to achieve the which was made to achieve the strict California standards for raw milk. So let's give both speakers a warm welcome, and we'll get started.
Welcome. Can everybody hear okay? Good. We're going to be alternating here back and forth. That's just to keep the things going and keep your attention awake at this late part of the afternoon. We're going to be doing, this is an outline for the 90 minutes that we have. I'll be talking first about principles. Mark will be talking about his plan and principles that he has developed. I'm going to talk a little bit about people, food, and illness, because a lot of this is about illness. Then the two of us are going to talk interchangeably a little bit about testing, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end for questions. I want to start out with this. Now, this is, everybody ought to really read this if you haven't had an opportunity. This is an official statement from the FDA. It was in the government's legal response to the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense Fund's suit against the FDA. These are the quotes from there. There is no, this is the FDA speaking now, officially, policy lawyers. There is no absolute right to consume or feed children any particular food. There is no deeply rooted historical tradition for unfettered access to foods of any kind. And plaintiffs do not have a fundamental right to obtain any food they wish, and there is no fundamental right to freedom of contract. It's unbelievable statements. This is their official response to the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense's suit against the FDA. This is also, the FDA had put together, like a lot of other government agencies, they got a program of goals for the next 10 years. And this is their newly proposed goal for the FDA, is to increase the number of states that ban all sale of milk that is not pasteurized. And that is their goal for the next 10 years. Be aware of the fact that if you know anything about the regulatory system, it's based on controlling process, and it's designed so that no matter what happens, they keep controlling more and more process, and so the regulations build upon each other over and over again. Additionally, the FDA has the policy of zero tolerance, which means from their point of view, and we've heard it many times, we believe that we are not finished with our task, and so nobody ever gets sick again. As a physician, I can tell you that that is, of course, absurd. They also use the same one that says that they have a zero tolerance for pathogens in any product, which means any raw milk product, which from their point of view means that if they find the presence of what they call a pathogen in the milk, it is not suitable for human consumption. It's unbelievable. There is a competitive nature of fluid milk. Milk is perceived as wholesome by almost everybody in this country, in the world. But it's interesting that the driving force in the commercial dairy for risk management, this is how they think of risk management, it's off flavors and shelf life. Anything that makes their product so that people will refuse to drink it because it doesn't taste good, or if it doesn't stay long enough on the shelf before it starts tasting bad, for them to be able to sell it. So all of the design and the PMO and all of the regulations that have developed over many years have developed to protect against these two risks. The risk that it's going to taste awful and the risk that it's not going to stay on the shelf long enough to be sold. In contrast to this, those of us that are thinking from our point of view, with raw milk, the driving force is obviously the nutritional quality of the milk. That's what we're really aiming for, and we got to remember that. Unfortunately, this is not particularly easily detected by the consumer. So the consumer can't look at or taste raw milk and say that is just spectacularly good. Now, we know about taste, but not necessarily about nutritional quality. So in fact, the consumer's choice for raw milk is driven by the knowledge that the milk is better for your family. It's the knowledge of it, not anything visual that you can see. So we have to train people to know what is good milk and what is not. If you're developing a farm plan, it depends on local conditions. I can't stress this enough. For the first point, which is oftentimes overlooked, if in your state or if your location, you are required to have a HESA plan or farm plan, then obviously that determines how you're going to have a farm plan, how you devise your farm plan. And usually in those states where there is such a requirement in their regulations, the regulations say that they have to, as an agency, approve your plan. You develop it, but they have to approve it. So it is not uncommon that there are models out there, which are models that will make it reasonably assured that when you devise your plan, that they're going to accept it. Now, on the other hand, if you want to develop your own operational plan from your own perspective, here's some things that I believe are really important. The first one, the thinking that goes into the development of the plan is far more important than the details of the plan itself. Corollary to that is the adoption of someone else's plan is really pretty worthless. You must have buy-in to the plan, or it's not going to work. More importantly, if you do not understand and agree with the assessments that you used and developed the plan, it isn't going to work. So you got to understand why you've got the plan. You've got to understand what it is that you're trying to control, and you have to understand the things that are going to make the control work. Otherwise, you can have a plan and it isn't going to work. Before you start your plan, you've got to understand that there are things that enhance desired quality. There are things that are going to diminish desired quality. You've got to know these things when you start your plan. You've got to know the the nature of the potential risks that are involved.